Well, what do we have in today's post? From this little company on eBay. Dispose of that. Now, if you're familiar with Bachmann intermodals, they have a little yellow bracket that kind of does the job of a twist lock on the container and the actual wagon. I've got a few second-hand, well, they're all second-hand twin packs of the intermodals, some of which are missing these little yellow brackets that click into the bottom of the container and then fit the container onto the base of the wagon and basically hold it there when you're going round with a consist. Bachmann in their infinite wisdom do not sell it as a spare part, because invariably they get broken when you're trying to swap containers or if you have a mishap. And I'd been unable to find any, surplus ones being sold. I've got a few extras in a couple of them, but nowhere near sufficient. And of course not all of the containers that are made will take these little bracket type things. So a guy has resin printed some, but they were better priced than the painted version. I know he's got to cover his costs, but yeah, they weren't good enough price for me to buy them, as opposed to using a bit of black tack or something to hold the container on, which still might be an option for some of them that don't have the little holes in the bottom. But anyway, that's waffling on enough. And the chap I bought that job, well, a combination of items, and probably in a previous video now, he had a couple of DCC Concepts panel meters. I think one had been used and probably put back in the packaging, and the second one had never been took out of the packaging. And they were listed on a few days apart, so I obviously watched them, and looking at sort of previous history of them, most on eBay are brand new ones, including the postage. They're all £65–70. So I sort of kind of figured that once you were getting over the £50 limit, it really wasn't worth buying a used one, when you can buy, for £10 more, a guaranteed one, brand new from a shop. Obviously there's postage on top, but I did, as I usually do if I'm weighing up the pros and cons of buying a used item versus new. Rails of Sheffield, shockingly, had the best price for the meter. I think it was £60, something like that. Which sort of begged the question that when these two items both got into the £55 plus mark, and then £6 postage, they were nearly as much money as buying one from Rails of Sheffield. Admittedly you got postage on top, but it was 65. I think one went for £57. So I left them. I didn't bother bidding on them, because I thought, well, I'll just wait until Rails of Sheffield have a deal on. And sure enough, they reduced the price and then had one of their little 5% off deals. So I bit the bullet and bought the meter at a discounted price with further discount. Grand total £54.95. They were making that without the postage, second hand. So so I bought one. I did miss an American one that was being sold over here. It went for £20, and I'd sort of watched it, and it done basically the same job, just an American marketed version that someone had bought and brought back. £140 they are. I thought these were expensive for what they are, but they're proving quite a useful tool. Obviously, conventional analog meters like I picked up on that layout don't really work effectively with DCC. So yeah, not a cheap purchase, but I think it's handy to keep an eye on, as I've probably seen on many other people's videos, that the telltale signs can be seen in the current drawer when you're getting problems, or obviously you can keep an eye on how much all of your locomotives and illuminated carriages and stuff are drawing on your DCC system. I think mine's 4 amps, which potentially gives you probably about 8 locos. So I might, with the size, depending on when it's built, have to invest in some kind of booster. But yeah, that's an expensive purchase, but I think, you know, probably getting to the point where it's as essential as the control system itself, really, just so you can keep a track on everything. Well, let's start again. The postman returned. No sooner had I just finished filming that last segment and I'm outside trying to get on. Knock at the door again. So this I think, if I could get into the bloody thing. For God's sakes. Yep. Scissors do not like cutting plastic. Here's a guillotine, I suppose you can call it that. I've been looking at them for a long while, various makes. The nicest one I found was on AliExpress, made out of machined aluminium, but it's like £70 and VAT and post on top, and I just don't use one enough to warrant that kind of expenditure. And then there was a wooden one made from laser cut that looked okay, but probably not that durable, and it didn't have an adjustable stop guard to do different angle cuts. This one has mixed reviews, I will admit, with regards to the arm flexing, but yeah, well, it is cheap. It's £13.11. I added it to my purchases in my basket on eBay because they had another £5 off if you've got the app. So I downloaded the app again to my phone and got the £50 with adding this, and then got £5 off. So there's a blade there that you have to fit. I don't know whether it comes with a spare. It looks like it might take the Stanley utility scraper blades with the top took off, but I don't think they're that expensive. But a lot of people say, because there's a bit of movement, so obviously you just got to be more aware of what you're cutting and how thick the stuff is, you know, the limitations of the machine. I think there's a replaceable cutting plate for when that wears. You get a spare one of those. It is English made, so obviously you can probably contact them to buy parts to replace anything that snaps. So the only thing I would have liked is an adjustable end stop, you know, so you can fit it there, put your item through, cut, flick it out of the way, cut. So I might have to, you know, when the time comes to use it, maybe set it in a piece of wood or have a surround, and then that will allow me to fit like a fence of some description, or put something down so that if you want to cut pipe work or little pieces of trim, you can do multiple ones without having to measure every time you cut. So it's quite cheap. The other thing I would say is there's no feet on it, and the base is not particularly level. I don't know whether it's warped. I think that's probably because that spare table's in the way actually. Having said that, can't get it off, but yeah. So yeah, there's no feet on it to hold it in place, so again I might build a little surround for it on a bit of ply or something. It's not going to get you a lot of use, so hence why I weren't prepared to spend. I think the best one is made in Australia, but that's going to cost as much to buy and ship. Although it's in excess of £100, and I ain't spending that much money. And these, there's a Carol's Collectibles, I think, which I've bought quite a bit off her recently with her listings on eBay, mainly Norfolk and Southern rolling stock, although they do sell a bit of hunting and everything. And I bought some Code 83 turnouts because I just wanted to see how monstrous the American ones are. It cost me 19 quid to find out. So here's an American long point versus an English medium. I think that's a medium, or what they call a long. As you can see, there's some considerable distance in these. Now these are Code 83, so they are not, obviously British Code 75 is even finer than American Code 83. Eyeballing these up, well, we're talking 2/10ths, aren't we? This is Code 100, this is 83, so actually the English track's got a lower head. I wonder if this is fine scale. I hope not. Didn't say it was. Fine standard. Yeah, that's why. Bloody fine scale, Code 75. Didn't say that in the advert. No, streamline. She's got it down to streamline and as fine scale. So, yeah. I'm thinking of words that would get me demonetised if I was monetised. Yeah, so I don't know what to do with that one. Insulfrog, Electrofrog. This is an Electrofrog fine scale. I've got a box full of these to sell because obviously most of my old rolling stock won't roll 75. So it looks like I'll be putting it with the collection. So let's try some Code 100. If I can keep it still. Yeah, there's a noticeable difference, so I might need to try the stepped fish plates, we'll see. But that was more of an interesting, because obviously they will be running American stock. Some of that is fine scale, some of it isn't. We'll have to wait and see. That was a bit of a gamble. It looks like one of them ain't paid off because it's the wrong gauge. So let's hope this one brings us better dividends. I've been on a bit of a lookout for British Rail Engineering rolling stock, as you know. I picked up the permanent way set, and all of the individual coaches seem to come at a ridiculous premium, far beyond what they were originally RRPing at. I think there was R4902 and 4903, which are the Hornby coaches, and I managed to win one for I think £18 plus the shipping, cost £21. And I happened to be looking for something totally non-relevant to a breakdown coach, but I happened to catch it, scroll past it, click back from the page and thought, was that what I thought it was? So I clicked back and scrolled down and saw it, and I thought, no, that's not the old naff looking early version that looks like a toy. And I clicked on the ad, and this was the last one left, including postage, $18.99. And I thought, oh, where's the catch? Sounds a bit of a dodgy enterprise called Empire or something. Read the advert, there weren't nothing dodgy, like you were buying an empty box. So I thought, well, in $18.99. I looked at the feedback, found the ones that were relevant. Only one guy complained about it and the packaging. So yeah, looks like it's brand new but unboxed, so whether they're job lot except from Hornby or what, I don't know. But yeah, looks okay. It's the modern one. It's a duplicate of the one I got, I think. Might be a different old oak common, this one is. The other one, I think the thing is that they don't put an interior in these. Obviously they're converted baggage wagons anyway, but it looks okay, and the phone's ringing.